So a lot of speculation about Alex Krasnov, the owner, the original creator of Pixel Gun 3D, has been going everywhere, and a lot of people have been asking me, who in the world is Alex Krasnov? Please go more in depth about Alex Krasnov. Where is he now? What's the deal with Alex Krasnov? So today, we're breaking down everything you need to know about Alex Krasnov, Rilisoft, Pixel Gun Company, GDEV. We're going through all of it. I have a long list. It might be a lengthy video, but guys, you want to stick around for all of this because everything goes full circle. There are a lot of scam companies involved here, and it's a lot of shady business tactics that went on in this whole entire thing, and I'm sure I could dig even deeper and find more information, but I think I got the main points here, and we're going to break it all down in today's video. If y'all are enjoying content like this, as always, make sure you guys show some support on this video, leave a like, and please stick to the end. I want to hear y'all's thoughts down below because I'm not here to tell you guys what to think. I'm here to put the facts in front of you so you guys can form opinions for yourselves. And as always, if you tell me how to think, I'm doubling down. Let's get into it. So we're going to start at the very beginning, and that is Rilisoft LLC. It was founded by a man, not Alex Krasnov, as the developers have stated publicly over the past 30 days, a couple weeks ago, that Alex Krasnov actually did not exist. So there's the answer about that. Alex Krasnov, he's not a real person, but there's a lot more details here. Rilisoft LLC was founded in July around 2010, somewhere around that area. That's when the website was listed, so early 2010, by a man named Anton, excuse me if I butcher this, Sinelnikov, a Russian guy. Yes, I can't pronounce it. He never filed as a company for Rilisoft LLC. Pixel Gun 3D was released under this company in May of 2013. From what I see, Rilisoft LLC is the publishers and the development team was Rilisoft. It's the same people. It was an indie game at the time, so the publishers and the developers were the same crew, which was awesome. Indie games are a whole lot better than what we have now. Rilisoft did, however, file for trademark in November of 2015 by a man not Anton, not Alex Krasnov, but a man named Leonid Sirotin. Remember that name, guys, because he's going to come back up later with a different company. After registration, though, the trademark was transferred to a new owner named Gracevale Limited. There's no real info on Gracevale. They could have rebranded Rilisoft into Gracevale, or they could have sold or could have just transferred the rights over to Gracevale Limited. There's not a whole lot to be known about them. However, Gracevale Limited was founded December 2015 as a holdings company, which would have been 1 month after Leonid had filed for trademark for the name Rilisoft. And just to clear up the air here, a holdings company is basically just a company that owns and controls other companies. So Gracevale Limited owns and controls, or owned, because it doesn't own it anymore, but they owned Cubic Games and Lightmap, the development team. Shortly after, Pixel Gun 3D had financial struggles. Rilisoft then transitioned their name several times. They went from Rilisoft to Starro Beast Limited to Pixel Gun Company, and they finally landed on Cubic Games and stuck with that one. Also, guys, I apologize if you guys can hear thunder in the background. It's storming here pretty bad. Gracevale Limited then, after these struggles, hired a new dev team named Lightmap Studios. They continue to develop the game today. It's the same development team as they've had for the past almost 10 years. This is ever from the future right here. I do want to clarify that the Steam version of Pixel Gun 3D was actually developed as a port by a company named Samustai, which is another subsidiary of GDEV, so it's not necessarily made by Lightmap like the rest of the game is, but it was made by Samustai, and I believe now Lightmap just continues to support it, which further proves don't be upset with the developers, be upset with the publishers, the owners, the big business, the black suits. Be upset with them. The developers have remained the same for most of the history of this game. After financial struggles, though, and possible bankruptcy, the game then evolved from an indie game to a more corporately structured business because they wanted to appeal to investors. Basically, they wanted people to throw money to them, so they were like, we can't be indie anymore. We need to actually look like a real company. So that's what they did. I know I have a lot of information in this video, even up to this point, and we're only like 4 or 5 minutes in. So real quick, I'm going to do a quick summary so everyone kind of has an idea of what's going on here. Rilisoft LLC was founded by Anton Sinelnikov in July 2010, or sometime around that era. Rilisoft then released Pixelgun 3D May 2013. The Rilisoft trademark was filed in November 2015 by Leonid Sirotin, and Graceville Limited was founded 1 month later in December of 2015 as a holdings company, somehow managing to acquire the trademark for Rilisoft. A holdings company is someone who owns and controls companies. In this instance, it's Rilisoft and the Rilisoft development team. Financial struggles kicked in. Rilisoft is then booted out the door and replaced with Lightmap Studio. While they are still trying to use the Rilisoft name, they're having even more issues, so they rebrand the publishing name several times to try to spark new investors. Do you remember Leonid Sirotin? Hopefully so. He's the guy who initially filed for the trademark of Rilisoft, so that means he worked with the original crew of Pixelgun 3D. Well, guess what? In September of 2017, Leonid Sirotin founded a company named Royal Arc. Guess what they are? A scam company. Guess who currently owns them? GDEV. Does that sound familiar? I think, correct me if I'm wrong, that sounds a little bit like Pixelgun. I'm not going to go into a full depth dive on Royal Arc. Basically, they're a scam company. They do a lot of false advertisements, just like Pixelgun does, just like every single game owned by scumbag GDEV does. We're not going to full dive on them because the video's not about them. So next up, in 2018, Playrix, a scam company, purchased roughly 43% of Nexter's shares. I know this might seem like I'm going off on a limb right here, but please guys, just stick with me here because it gets interesting, because we all know who Nexter's is, but we don't know who Playrix is. But we all know their ads. I know you've seen them. How about Gardenscapes, or Homescapes, or Townships, or Fishdom? All of those scam games! Playrix is a scam company, much like GDEV. And guess what? In 2018, they purchased 43% of Nexter's. Nexter's is the company that then turned into GDEV. So just stick with me right here, guys. So in 2018, Playrix, a scam company who does all these scam ads, purchased 43% of Nexter's shares. So we're going to fast forward 2 years later. In 2020, a company, an SPAC known as Kismet, was founded. An SPAC is Special Purpose Acquisition Company. An SPAC is basically a shell entity. It's basically a false company, but it's a real company. It's kind of confusing at first, but it is a legal business. They just don't do anything. They have no operations. They don't sell anything. They don't provide anything. It's just a shell. Basically, it's just a name with some faces. That sounds confusing, and you might be wondering, why in the world would anybody want to do that? And we're going to get into that information right now. The whole purpose of an SPAC is to raise money from investors so they can purchase a functioning business. Now you're wondering, how in the world are you going to raise money from investors? Because you don't do anything. That's the whole point. It's kind of this shady little scheme that for some reason is legal. But August 2020, Kismet launched an IPO. An IPO is when a private company begins to sell their shares to the public for the first time. Basically, they go on the stock market. Essentially, it doesn't have to be the stock market, but that's essentially what it is. They were selling shares for $10 a unit in August of 2020, and they raised $250 million. So basically, the whole point of the SPAC, or the whole point of Kismet, is so that people can jump in and raise money, and they're basically promising these investors, we're going to do something big in the tech industry. You guys don't know what it is, but you're throwing your money at us, trusting us that we're going to turn it into a lot of money. That's basically all that it is. It's a huge risk, but it can be high rewards. And that's why a lot of people who worked with Kismet are now billionaires. But guys, trust me, take it from somebody who's a little bit smarter than these business people, because they're really bad business people. Don't do this, because then you're going to wind up losing $1.3 billion as a company, and you're probably going to be going out of business within the next 6 months as of today. You can quote me on that. I really believe GDEV or Pixelgun 3D is going to be out of business very soon. But you might be wondering, why in the world do I care about Kismet? Kismet was something, it's just a random SPAC. They basically raised $250 million, and they don't do anything. But they did do something. With that $250 million, they then went to Nexter's. In February of 2021, they offered a merger deal with Nexter's, which, if I remember correctly, they offered $150 million of straight cash. So Kismet's offer to merge with Nexter's was successful. They offered in February of 2021, and they closed the deal in August of 2021. Together, they formed the company GDEV. GDEV is the wonderful company we know now that's now lost $1.3 billion over the past 5 years, which is a very, very, very awesome success if you ask me. They're ran by a bunch of absolute morons who have no clue what they're going to do. They have no clue about anything. But in January 2022, next year's now GDEV acquired Gracevale Limited, owners of Cubic Games and Royal Ark. Remember Royal Ark? That's the company that was found by Leonid Sorotin, and Leonid Sorotin was the original person who filed trademark for Rilisoft, so he has ties with Pixelgun 3D. Both companies, Cubic Games and Royal Ark, are now owned by GDEV, a scam company who continue to scam people. All their games are now scams, including Pixelgun 3D, because all the ads for Pixelgun 3D, guess what? They do not resemble the game whatsoever, making them a scam, and they're all monetized so heavily with a lot of predatory monetary tactics. Very awful company, scumbag people, a bunch of morons, and guess what? It's not working. You've lost $1.3 billion. Congratulations. And remember that other major scam company that we talked about earlier, Playrix? They still hold a large minority stake in Nexters/GDEV. However, they still operate as a separate entity. So they're not part of GDEV, but they own them. So GDEV is partly owned by a scam company. So a scam company, Playrix, partly owns a scam company, GDEV, which then owns Cubic Games and Royal Ark, which are now scam companies, but they used to not be scam companies. It's a huge circle of just scam companies everywhere. And how much did that profit for them? A lot of them people have profited over $7 billion. But there's two faces right now that you can put all the blame for the scumminess that goes on in Pixelgun 3D, and it is not Alex Krasnov. If anything, the original Alex Krasnov, aka Anton Sinilnikov, I still don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. If anything, that guy, he's a freaking G. He's a boss. We all love him. We all want him back. That was when Pixelgun 3D was a little old indie game. And it was actually whenever Rilisoft was gone, after Anton was gone, when they started to add pets and stuff. That was when Gracevale took over, got rid of the OG devs, and they picked up Lightmap Studio, which is the ones that we know now. They've done a lot of good for the game, yes. I want to credit the Lightmap Studio a whole lot more than what we give them credit for. It's just a bunch of scummy black suit business owners that just ruin everything for everybody. But there's two people in particular that you can really point the finger at, and that's going to be this man named Dmitry Bukhom. Might be butchering his name. That would be the CEO of Playrix, the big scam company that partly owns. He owns like 40% of GDEV. That percentage might be off since the acquisition. They are like the number 3 largest monetized mobile gaming company. So they make a lot of money off of scamming a lot of people. Put that on my resume. But so Dimitri's one person that you could point the finger at, and the other one is going to be Andriy Fadiv, who is currently the CEO of GDEV. That guy right there is who's responsible for all of these nasty, predatory, monetized schemes that go on in Pixelgun 3D. That dude's the man you could point the finger at, because you get best bet him or the people he's appointed to overlook everything going on in the game is what's wrong with this game today. Everything his name is on is a scam. Hero Wars is a scam. Pixelgun 3D is now a scam, and everything else on their website is a scam and a bunch of lied numbers, false numbers. They just lie about everything. You cannot trust them. But anyways, guys, that's going to be where I conclude this video, where we deep dive into who is Alex Krasnov and who can be blamed for the scumminess that goes on into this game today. I hope you guys all could follow this pretty well. But anyways, guys, I hope you guys did enjoy it. If you guys did, then just leave a like on it and comment down below what your thoughts are on everything, if you could follow it. And if not, I'm going to be re-recording this. But I hope you guys all have a very blessed day. As always, Jesus loves every single one of you, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.